My name is Trayvon Frith, and I'm a business major in class of 2023.
My name is Jamar Blakeney. I'm a sophomore. My major is criminal justice.
My name is Dejon Williams. I'm an aviation science major in concentration management.
Have you ever had a time where you were talking to your parents and they were always nagging about doing chores around the house, and it came to the point where you pretend like you was listening, but you really wasn't?
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time, almost every day of my life when I'm home.
Can you give me an example, Dad?
For example, like, I'll be washing clothes, and my mom is like nagging me not to do it yet, because certain time of the day, and just stuff like that. And so she's just nagging. So I just agree with her. I'm like, okay, yeah, just to let her hear what she wants. Well, really, in reality, I'm not really listening. But I want to make it seem like I'm listening, so she can stop talking.
What about you, Jamal?
The problem that I had basically transitioning from my senior year, I didn't know if I wanted to be in the Navy or that I wanted to go straight to college. And when I told my parents that I had a consideration of the Navy, they basically just like all against it, and they was just saying all these wrong things about the Navy, and they act like they knew everything about the Navy. So I was just like, I tuned them out and I blocked them off because they didn't know.
Have you also had another time when you and your parents having a heated debate and you'll interrupt one another in between that debate? Interrupting.
Yeah, because it's never one person talks at a time. It's like you're trying to say something, but like the other person's trying to say something too. So it's just colliding and it's just overlapping each other.
Those two scenarios is practices of pseudo listening and interrupting. Those considered bad listening practices that doesn't make a relationship healthy at all. Yeah. Do you have like any thing to prevent that pseudo listening or interrupting?
Yes. I would say to prevent that, you have to have patience or actually like an open mind to actually like let the other person like you're debating with, basically invite their ideas. Like everybody got to be open up to something new. That's how we evolve. That's how we learn. So I feel like if everybody had like a little more patience in them, then like you could probably prevent that.
Basically, an easy way you can prevent pseudo listening is to just actually do what you're being told. Like in that situation, if you were washing clothes and like my mom kept telling me don't do it at that time, I would just not do it at that time, just to avoid me having to fake care. I'll just say what she wants and actually do it.
Do you guys always take interruption as a negative, thing?
Usually, yeah, it's gonna be negative. Like 95% of the time, it's negative.
I mean, not all the time. What about when they say yeah and yeah? All right. After you say.
I mean, that's cool. That's probably the little 5%.
That's the 5%.
That's the 5%.
I mean, I agree.
Yeah. When you pseudo listening, do you think it's anything positive or anything negative about that? Like, what's the positive? Is there anything that's positive about that?
Yeah, a positive thing I can say on that is that the only way that it's positive is so that you're not hurting anyone's feelings. So like if you don't really care but you're just pretending to care, instead of just telling the person you don't care and not listening, that would kind of hurt that person's feelings.
I would say the positive thing out of that would be actually like knowing that you're right and that your parents is not right. So it's just like basically telling yourself like, yeah, you have knowledge of yourself basically. But the only thing that's also negative about it as well is just basically, your parents, they've been through everything, so they kind of like telling the truth at the same time.
Because they've been through it.
What do you think you can do to avoid pseudo listening?
To avoid pseudo listening, you could try not conversating with the person at all. Just like if you make it to a point where you're not talking to them, then they can't ask you stuff that you not to care about. You know what I mean?
I would say your mind, you have to have a powerful mind to control that because it's like you already inside your head. So you basically choose to block yourself off. Not as far as you have to work on your mental strength, but okay, I'm still have time to listen to what you have to say.
What do you think you can do to avoid interrupting? When it comes to conversations.
Avoiding interrupting, I'd probably say you wait to talk. If you want to get something, you want to get your point across to somebody in the middle of them speaking, just let them write it out. Let them say the whole thing, and then you'll talk to avoid any interruptions and all that.
Like I said before, just patience. Just patience.
Okay. Thank you. Alright, so what do y'all think about pseudo listening and interruption when it comes to friends? You know, since friends are more lenient with communication rather than parents.
Friends, I'll usually let them know that I don't care instead of pretending like I don't care. Like, we'll be having a conversation and I'll be like, okay, I don't care. I didn't ask all that. Did I? No. Like, I didn't ask all that. So, but with your parents, you wouldn't do that because then they smack you. But with your friend, you know you would dog him. Especially, you know, with the friends I have.
What do you think, Jamar?
I think friends can go two ways because, like, sometimes your friends need to be interrupted because you have to tell your side of the story too. And then I think you should also listen to your friends sometimes because they're good to hear news from.
Oh yeah, I didn't even talk about interruptions.
But the interruption part is just like, it depends on what topic it is. So
because sometimes you need to hear it in the middle of talking.
yeah, sometimes.
But sometimes, like, I know my friends, that's the one negative thing about them, is that you'll be talking and they'll just cut you off and just tell you they don't care instead of waiting. Like, or like you'll be happy about something and they'll just bring down your hopes and dreams and all that type of stuff.
I mean, but you gotta speak like your honest feelings towards your friends. I mean, that builds y'all as a stronger character, as a stronger bond with your friends, right?
Yeah, but
Not
sometimes I understand. My
necessarily.
friend, the leader of the group, my friend, we call him Brick. He's good at it. He's really helpful, but sometimes it can be like negative because he always lets me know that he don't care. He never lets me have anything. Like, I'll be wanting to have fun. He's just not gonna help me.
Hey, what if it's just a joke?
If it is just a joke, it's a terrible joke. It's just a bad joke. It's not good. But that's him. I guess sometimes he takes it a little too serious. I don't care about it.
Do you have a friend named Brick, too?
Just something.
And what do you think about him?
I think he's a great guy. I think he did hit a lot of great characteristics of someone who I would hang around and keep around my circle. So, but what was the question that you asked?
I was saying, like, when it comes to, you know, having friends and, you know, being honest about your feelings
Right,
rather than you are
right.
to your parents.
So I was like, sometimes that's not true because sometimes you can't tell your honest feelings to your friends because those same friends that you tell all your information might stab you in the back and that ain't got honest information on it. So that's what I'm saying. Your parents not gonna stab you back, but they can stab you back too. But 9 times out of 10, it's gonna be your friends before your parents. So that's why I said sometimes you gotta watch who you tell certain stuff to because you may think they're your friends, but you might really not be.
But that's why sometimes I say, like, it's not always positive or negative because sometimes at like this point it's just human instinct. You know, when you're talking to people and it's just like you want to say something so you just blurt it out. Like I've done it like at least 3 times during this conversation because like he'll be saying important facts, but I also want to contribute to what he's saying.
So you think pseudo listening, like, can help a relationship, you know, with anything?
Because it definitely can help. Because if you don't, especially like watch, like you see movies about like old married couples, right? How the guy just always does what the girl wants. He always gonna do it because he doesn't really care about it. He's doing it to make her happy.
Based off the discussion we all had, what did y'all two learn from this? When it comes to pseudo listening and interruption.
So with interrupting, I learned from it is that sometimes it is good to interrupt people because, you know, they might be giving you the wrong information or it may not be information that you need during that time. But then I also learned that interruption can be bad though because if you have something good to say, then you should take the time out your day to listen to it. Even though you may not want to listen to it, it's information that you still need.
I mean, what have you learned from it?
What I've learned and what I've realized is that it happens way more often than you think it does. Like you do it without even knowing because you're so used to that instinctive behavior. But like Jamar said, it can be good, but it also can be bad. For the most part, it's negative, but depending on the way you use it, it can be positive. Like again, I didn't talk about what Jamar said about how it's always like it's not always helping in that aspect. If you understand what I'm saying.
One last
Oh.
little question.
I won't talk about the listening part.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say like now the listening part. I said that you need patience. Like I said, because it goes the same thing for interruption. Even though you need to listen to the knowledge, you may not want to hear, but you need it. But for that one, I would say everyone should definitely develop patience. Patience is key. That's all. I'm gonna just put that in.
Patience is key.
Yeah, patience is key.
Patience is key.
I mean, do you guys ever get tired of listening to somebody though, and then just be like, stop
Honestly,
talking?
Yes, that's normal feeling.
All the time.
Yes.
All the time.
Yeah.
And then you interrupt somebody because you know they dead wrong.
Like,
the
not,
person
I
is something.
mean, it's not even for dead
They don't even
wrong.
have to
Like,
be
for
dead.
example, right? What if a person has an annoying voice? You may not like it. I mean, it's not really wrong if you don't want to hear it because it's not to your liking. So that's not bad.
And at the end of the day, we should all be fair when it comes to communication and to listening and speaking to somebody.
Yes, I agree, but then I also disagree.
I agree too.
Yeah.
That it's hard to describe how it should be. Like 'cause you don't always want to listen to somebody, but you don't feel like being rude either. You just do it a lot more than you think. Like you're just trying to get out of the conversation. You're just trying to make sure you don't hurt nobody else's feelings. Just stuff like that.
Thank you. Appreciate it.